Welcome to the Homeschool Show from North Carolinians for Home Education. Our goal is to help you homeschool with confidence and joy. I'm your host, Matthew McDill, and we have once again as our co-host, Amanda Wares. Hello, Amanda.
Yes. Hi there. How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you.
Great.
All right. So today, let's talk about what we have coming up.
Right.
In homeschool news, we are going to talk about what the Parental Rights Foundation is doing and give you some information on our upcoming Thrive conference. Then in Homeschool Conversations, we'll have a little portion of a conversation you had with Todd Wilson. Love Todd. He's so great. And then we'll have some wisdom from the word, talking about truth. How do we know what truth is? And then I am going to continue my series in Homeschool Helps on homeschooling different age groups. And today we are going to talk about middle school.
All right. Middle school.
That should be a fun time. Yeah.
That's right. All right, that's great. So heading into homeschool news, I just want to first talk about the Parental Rights Foundation. This is something you may not be aware of, although we've mentioned it here on the show. Founded in 2014, the Parental Rights Foundation is a nationwide research, educational, advocacy, and legal nonprofit organization. They vigorously promote parental rights through nationwide research, education, advocacy, and legal efforts. So that's their description on the website. And I've been following this organization, and we do as NCHE because parental authority is one of our 4 core values.
Yeah.
You can understand that that's connected, right? The value is we believe the authority and responsibility of educating and raising children belongs to parents. So that's one of our values. And so we follow this organization. And the importance, obviously, legislatively, is that if parents lose the legal authority to be making decisions for their children, then that undermines our freedom to homeschool. So I just want to let you know a couple of things that are going on across the country with parental rights. According to Parental Rights Foundation in Alabama, State Representative Kenneth Pascal introduced HB 98, proposing a parental rights amendment to the Alabama Constitution. This would give Alabama a chance to become the first state in the nation to secure fundamental parental rights in their constitution. So that's really interesting. And that's something that's going on in process that we, of course, would be super encouraged for. And we can pray that they are successful in getting this amendment to the Constitution. In Illinois, Senator Lightford introduced Senate Bill 3630, the Protecting Innocent Families Act. This bill addresses the state's use of, quote, child abuse pediatricians with 3 positions. These child abuse pediatricians must identify themselves to the families they are investigating. The Department of Children and Families must notify parents that they have a right to second medical opinion, and the family court must consider that second opinion when considering the case presented by CAP, the child abuse pediatrician. So obviously the importance here is that there are some limitations and safety measures to protect families who are being investigated. And of course, this is something that happens periodically in the homeschool world, that parents get investigated for abuse issues. And so in Illinois, that's going on. We also pray that they're successful in getting this legislation through. You can go to parentalrightsfoundation.org and be kept up with these kinds of happenings going on in the nation.
All right. Wow. A lot going on everywhere. Again, our Thrive Homeschool Conference coming up May 23rd through the 25th in Winston-Salem. And we're going to focus today on our workshops just for beginners. Are you new to homeschooling? We have a ton of workshops just for you to help you feel like confident, equipped, all of that. So you can go to nche.com/schedule and find it there. Then you'll look for the workshops tab, and then you can find beginner workshops. They're marked with a B. So just for you, here's some that we have. I'm going to read them to you. We have Getting Off to a Great Start. That's a good one. Getting Started with Preschool and Kindergarten, Exploring Curriculum Options, Getting to Know the North Carolina Division of Non-Public Education, 5 Needs of the Homeschool Child, Homeschooling with Multiple Ages in the House, Homeschooling on a Shoestring Budget, A Homeschool Veteran's Top Advice to Pass Along, and Juggling Life and Lesson Plans. Those all sound great.
Yeah, they do.
They do. And then we also have some frequently asked questions that people ask about coming to the conference, and we're going to just go over a couple of them today. So one, do you have to be a member of NCHE to attend? No, you do not. Anybody who wants to attend can attend. So we want you to come. And can we attend for just part of the conference? Absolutely. You can attend any part of the conference that fits your schedule. So you just register. We also have 1-day registration options. So you can register and come just for Thursday or just for Saturday, if that fits your schedule better and your budget. Or you can come the whole time, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But whenever you register, just look at the schedule, see what works for you, and come as you are able. So you can go to nche.com/thrive for all the details about the conference, but we can't wait for that. Another part of the conference, at the end of the conference, is our statewide graduation ceremony. And I always tell people, if they have never seen the graduation, they should come and just check it out because it's amazing. It's wonderful. And that is held on the Saturday, May 25th in Winston-Salem. So you go to nche.com/graduate dash central. Sorry, couldn't come up with that word. And that has all the information about everything we offer for graduates. We have a lot going on with that. And for those graduating seniors, we have scholarships. So a lot of people don't know about our scholarships. They are great, and the deadline's coming up. So you want to get more information about those scholarships. The deadline is March 31st to apply. I believe we have 6 different scholarships that are available. So go again to that Graduate Central, and you can see all the information about the scholarships. All right.
That's great. So heading into Homeschool Conversations, once again, I want to share with you a little bit of a conversation I had with Todd Wilson. Now, I will let you know, this conversation was recorded in 2020.
Wow.
So we were actually in the fall of 2020. And so you'll have to, if you're watching the video, you'll have to see if I look younger, because I do. Anyway, so Todd, however, he was able to come to the 2021 conference, and now he's coming again in this year. So we're excited to have Todd again. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is because we've been trying to get connected with dads. And this was a dad's webinar, and I'm going to show a piece of it. So I want to invite you again to go to nche.com/dads. There's a survey there. We'd love to know how we can serve you as dads. Let us know your needs and your thoughts. In addition, we just wanted to encourage you to get to know Todd a little bit, so that if you're coming to the conference, you would be able to see him as a featured speaker. So anyway, what we're talking about is, how can we as homeschool dads minister to our wives? What is our role as dads in the homeschooling process? So let's check out this conversation.
All right.
What other ways can a husband and dad participate or lead in homeschool? And again, let's just broaden that.
Okay, well, we've kind of mentioned 2 already. We said she needs an encourager. She needs a listener. I think she needs a leader in this. We kind of think of homeschooling as a mom thing. And, you've already mentioned that. It's easy to get mom listeners. Dad listeners are like pulling teeth. I mean, if there's a dad sitting in front of this monitor, it's because his wife threatened him or made him or tricked him. Hold it. This guy's talking about homeschooling, honey. You said it was something else, or whatever. But I think our wives want us to be the leaders in this because it really is a dad thing. And, I was asked yesterday in this filming thing, they asked, what's the purpose of your homeschooling? Why do you homeschool? Really, your wife wants you to know why you homeschool, because your wife's going to get all wishy-washy one day and go, why are we doing this? I don't know why we're doing this. Wouldn't it be easier if we just put them in school? And she's got to look at you as the knight in shining armor, and she wants you to have the right answer. She doesn't want you to go, oh, well, if you want to put them in school, let's put them in school. That's not what she wants. I hear a lot of guys, I ask them, why do you homeschool? And they'll say, oh, my wife wanted to. That's an answer, but not a good one.
Yeah.
And it's because, like for us, honestly, with all my heart, what I want out of our homeschool, what I want for my boys, I want them to be good fathers and good husbands and good men. For my daughters, I want them to be good wives, good mothers, good women. That's it. I want them to love God. I mean, that fits in there too. But that's what I want.
And I would really encourage the dads now here, just kind of dig deep on that sometime and just think, what's my answer to that question? Why am I doing this? Why am I letting her do it? Why am I doing it? Why are we doing it? And dig deep for an answer. So I'm going to mention a couple things real quick. One, just to encourage you to make sure that you know about North Carolinians for Home Education, and just that we're here for you. We have resources, we have encouragement, we have a conference. If your wife doesn't come to the conference, that's something you might want to do to facilitate. It could be a date, could be a weekend, it could be a thing where you send her and you stay home. It could be that you come because you need it. I know a lot of dads really need it.
Can I even put a little more pressure on the men and the moms listening? I know that it always shocks me that there are homeschooling moms who've never been to a homeschooling convention. There are moms who are listening right now, who or will listen, who have never been to a homeschooling convention. I will tell you, you are missing out on a great resource. It's great to be able to look online and look at products, but it is so amazing to be able to talk to the creator or someone, not God, the creator, but the creator of this math program, or the person who's used it, or another mom who's sitting right next to you, who's looking over your shoulder, and to look at the pages and to have the speakers and to be sitting in a giant auditorium and talking to one another. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to encourage dads, if you're listening, that maybe you would make it a priority to bring your wife to the Thrive conference in May. Come and stay at the hotel, make a weekend out of it, find someone to watch the kids. Just tell your wife, honey, let's do it. Ladies, if your husband can't, I'm going to just encourage you maybe in your co-op to say to the ladies, let's all go together. Let's make a weekend of it. Let's get a hotel room. I can remember talking to a mom who I was in Idaho, I think. And she was standing at a booth inside this convention. She was working it. And she goes, wow, these homeschool conventions are pretty neat. And I said, oh yeah, they are. They're really amazing. And she goes, and then she just says, I've homeschooled. And I said, really? How long have you homeschooled? And she said, oh, for 20 years. She goes, I've never heard of a convention before. And I'm like, do you live under a rock? So maybe you've been watching these things and it hasn't dawned on you that this convention thing is a big thing. It's a huge thing. And I think you're missing out on something that's really amazing. And plus you'll get to see me. So you'll want to make sure you're there.
That's right. nche.com/thrive. As a dad, just to emphasize again what Todd's saying, I'm probably immediately going to start saying, is it worth my time and is it worth my money? And after I've gone and after I've taken my wife, it's worth way more. Way more.
And I would even say too, if you have a husband who's not real sure about homeschooling, get him there. Entice him, tell him, how about a romantic weekend getaway, and without the kids? He'll come. He will come. And I can't tell you how many guys I've talked to who have said, I wasn't really on board with this homeschooling thing. And then I came to a convention. I was surrounded by all these couples, all these people. I heard speakers like you, and I am like fired up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, not just one dad or two dads. I'm like, lots of dads have said that to me.
All right. Let me do one more question here at least. My kids spend so much time with my wife that they don't seem to rely on me much. How can I gain more involvement so they come to me with questions so I can help a little bit, take a bit off the load off?
Again, to the dad, I'd say, I wouldn't worry so much about the questions. I would just worry about spending time with your children. Probably they go to their mom because they have more time with her. She's just invested a lot. Sometimes when we've been distant in the past, we're surprised that they don't feel as close to us. I think that we have to be a little more intentional. Maybe it's not saying, well, hey, why don't you come to me with your problem? Instead, maybe it's when we get home from work, we don't watch TV and we play what they want to do, or you do some games with them, or if you invest in their lives, they will come to you. I promise.
Part of the Deuteronomy 6 there, when you lie down and when you rise up is, dad can help put the kids to bed. Dad can help, and really some of those late night times, putting kids to bed is when all of a sudden people want to talk. It's time for bed. Oh, I have a question. Well, then answer the question, don't be hardcore.
I think, Matthew, that would be a great practical thing to do. I would say, make sure you're involved in putting your kids to bed. Even your older kids, you don't have to go in and say, okay, let's tuck it in, and tuck them in. But you can just sit on the edge of the bed and say, hey, how was your day today? And like you said, I think that's when sometimes those hearts are open and they just talk. And that's a very special time. And I know a lot of dads abdicate that role and they just let their wives put their kids to bed. I would never do that. I think you're missing out, and your kids are missing out not having you as a dad be a part of bedtime.
All right, now it's time for some wisdom from the Word. One of the most interesting things that happens as a parent is to watch your kids wake up. And I don't mean wake up from a nap or from their sleep. I mean become conscious. One of the fun little things about little tiny kids is that they're not even aware of anything. But then they start waking up and they start being aware of themselves, aware of other people and how they think about them. And then, as you know, that can really go wrong in a lot of ways. But one of the natural first things that happen when we become aware is that we then ask the question, where did I come from? This is one of the three big philosophical, theological questions that humans have been asking for a long time from the beginning, which is, where did I come from? Why am I here? And where am I going? Or what happens after I die? So I want to think about that first question, because our responsibility as parents is to guide our children through answering these difficult questions. And how can we? So where did I come from? Well, there are two basic answers these days, and that can pretty much be categorized into we came from nothing and we came from God or some divine being. And so which one of these makes most sense to you? Did we come from nothing? This is something that we can talk through with our kids. Which makes most sense to you? Did you come from nothing? Or did you come from God? From a being who may be like us, or who is intelligent, or has some goodness to him? So in thinking through that, I have come to a conclusion. It seems obvious to me that a world full of beauty, freedom, design, love, morality, and order didn't come from nothing. All of those are difficult to explain coming from nothing. So, and sure, you can read lots of apologetics. You can read all of the explanations of how science fits with the biblical worldview, and that's all very helpful. But I don't want to overcomplicate it. The Bible makes clear that creation itself is a testimony of the existence of God. Romans 1:19-20 says, "For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, are clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world and the things that have been made, so they are without excuse." Many times we just overcomplicate this. The reality is when we look at creation and the nature of creation, it is obvious that a God exists. And that's something we can help our kids with. Now, how do we know when we're trying to find out the truth and where we came from? Well, who is God? If we come to the conclusion that God exists, because there's lots of religions and there's lots of holy scriptures, supposedly, we look to the Bible as our other source of authority. Now, this can be very interesting as you read other scriptures and try to understand. But what we're talking about here is special revelation. So sometimes in the theological or philosophical world, we'll talk about general revelation, referring to creation. And then we have special or specific revelation where God gives us words to reveal himself. And we believe that is the Bible. 2 Timothy 3:16, of course, says that all scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness, that the man of God may be complete, equipped for every good work. So the Bible itself claims to be a word from God, a revelation from him. And not only that, but it's useful to us. Now, all you can do is do the best you can to read the different scriptures and to compare them. But one of the things that you can talk to and talk through with your kids is the fact that the Bible is internally coherent and is consistent with the world around us. And we have clarity that God himself is working in our hearts and lives as we understand the Bible. There's so many ways that we can try to understand and affirm the realities of the Bible. But this is one of the core beliefs of Christianity, is that God has revealed himself in creation and he's revealed himself in his word so that we know more than he made us. We also know that he is God and that Jesus Christ is God and has come to save us from our sins and that there's eternity and those kinds of things. So anyway, these are the big pictures. And as your children are growing up and you're discipling them, you want to have clarity about these two realities. And that's why we're asking the question, how do we know the truth? How can we know what the truth is? And so we're looking to creation and we're looking to the Bible using basic observation and reasoning to try to understand that.
Welcome to Homeschool Helps with Amanda. I'm Amanda Wares, Homeschool Helps Director with NCHE. So we are continuing on with homeschooling different age groups, and today we are talking about middle school. Now, this can be, as I'm sure any of you listening to me know, a challenging time. There's a lot going on with middle schoolers. They're growing a lot. They have a lot of big feelings. They can be, having some hormone issues going on. There can be a lot going on. But how do we homeschool this age group best? I will say I love middle schoolers. I think they are so much fun and so much fun to homeschool because they're really just curious and want to know how things work and the reason why behind things. All of my middle schoolers and all the ones that I've ever taught at co-op or any of those things, they really just think deeply about things. So it's fun. It's a good time, I think. Now, my best tips for homeschooling this age group. First of all, I will say it again, just because somebody is now in middle school does not mean that you all of a sudden need to stop doing some of the wonderful things that you have done when they were in elementary school or younger. Still read to them, still have that time with them. You want to invest this time in relationship with these middle schoolers, and it will pay off when you're maybe having to push a little academically. So first of all, do not stop with that relational part of homeschooling. Do not stop reading to them. It's so important. You want that connection time. You really do. It's so important. Another tip that I have is for my middle schoolers, and you have to kind of gauge maturity, where they are with how they can handle a little bit more responsibility. So middle school is a time when I, as a homeschool mom, would start trying to give a little more independence, a little more maybe autonomy in education, in the actual schoolwork. So maybe that would look like, here's all the work that we need to get done today. But you can choose, maybe you choose what you want to do first and what order you want to get in. You could also, depending on maturity, if you have a particularly mature, motivated middle schooler, you might even start with, here is a list of the work that needs to get done. You are responsible for getting that done. And when the list is finished, then you're done. If that means, you're done in 15 minutes, okay, that's great, as long as it's actually done. So a little more choices, a little more autonomy can be a good thing for this age group. It, again, totally depends on maturity and just if they can handle that level of responsibility or not. If not, fine. It's okay. It's okay to walk with them through that. If your middle schooler still needs you to sit there in order for them to get that work done, then that's what they need, and that's okay. Another tip that I have, it kind of is related to the first tip of not stopping those wonderful relational things. Also, it can be tempting to push off or get rid of the fun parts of homeschool, like field trips and, those fun things that you do, experiments and hands-on things and all of that we tend to do in elementary school. And maybe in middle school, it can be tempting to say, oh, well, we don't want to do that anymore. Now we're, feels a little bigger, a little more serious. Don't do that. Don't get rid of those. Still go on the fun field trips. Still have the experiments. Still have the hands-on things. Your middle schoolers want them. And even if they don't say they want them, even if they don't act like or look like on their face that they want that, it still benefits them. And I would encourage you to keep doing it. Even if the middle schooler is like, oh, mom, even if they're reluctant, still do it. It's worth it. And that investment into those fun things, the relational parts of homeschool, it will pay off in later years. It will pay off. That foundation that you have built relationally, emotionally, all of that, it will pay off in the end. So again, let's go back over my best tips. Give a little more autonomy if they can handle it. Give a little more independence. This is a great time to start with that. However, do not just say, oh, you're in middle school now. Here, you're on your own. Keep investing in that relationship, in those parts of homeschool that are so beautiful. Keep doing the field trips, keep doing the hands-on things, the experiments, and keep reading to them, even if they don't want to. Keep doing it. I promise you it's worth it. All right. I really hope this helps today. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. We would love, as always, we want to hear from you. So please send your questions and your feedback to thehomeschoolshow@nche.com and help others find the show, subscribe, like, leave a rating, leave a review, and share. Please share with others. If you think this show would be helpful, and I hope it is. I hope it's encouraging to you. That's our goal. We want to help you homeschool with confidence and joy. And if you want to learn more about how to subscribe, you can visit nche.com/The Homeschool Show.
All right, until next week, continue to homeschool with confidence and joy.
Bye-bye.